Welcome back, my friends, to the Mail Right Real Estate Agent Podcast Show. We're on episode 114, and I'm super excited today because we got a fantastic guest. His name is Wellington Pendell from the Career Compass, but you're never going to hear me call him Wellington because we all know him as Beef. So, Beef, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself and maybe a line or two about Career Compass, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Well, again, it's Wellington Pendell II. Everybody calls me Beef Wellington. For those of you who are young out there in our crowd that don't know what Beef Wellington is, it's the only good food that ever come out of England.
Sorry, Jonathan.
Sorry, Jonathan. And where you're from, buddy. Anyways, so everybody calls me that. I work for the Career Compass, which is as of last year, California. There you go. There it is. There's my English buddy right there. And basically what the Compass does is these award-winning, awesome 2.5-day seminars that not only educate realtors on how to be successful in real estate, but it also renews your license for life, because we have a program where if you come to the seminar once, you get to come back for free for the rest of your career. So it's lifetime continuing education, lifetime renewals of your license, and the best training in the state of California when it comes to marketing and being successful in this business.
Awesome. All right, Jonathan, I'm going to let you say hi before we dive into the questions.
Oh, hi there, folks. I'm the founder of Mail Right. We provide a suite of marketing tools for you real estate agents to help you with social media, open houses, and building up your database. We're comprehensive, aren't we, Thomas?
You are. Well, and I use your services, so I can vouch for them. My name is Thomas Nelson. I'm your co-host. I'm with Big Block Realty here in San Diego, California, where I'm never too busy for your referrals. You can find me on my website, conveniently called thomasjnelsonrealtor.com. All right, Beef, let's dive into this. First of all, I know you gave kind of a brief overview, but how did Career Compass come to be, and how long has it been around?
It's been around amazingly. People think we're like this overnight success, and like the old saying goes, it only took me 20 years to become an overnight success. It's been around for almost 10 years now. In fact, this upcoming year, 2018, we'll be celebrating our 10th year anniversary being in California. And originally, way back when in 2008, we were the seminar, and many people may remember this, we were the seminar that took realtors on a cruise from San Diego to Cabo and back, taught them some great real estate tools and techniques, and just did a lot of partying. Well, we ended up getting bigger and bigger and couldn't do the cruises anymore. And then in 2010, we added the continuing education aspect to the seminar, and it's just been gangbusters since then. So, and
is there a reason why you're only in California? Because I'm sure we have a national audience, so they'd be curious about something like this. Are there plans to expand, or is this going to always be a California-based company?
We are only in California at this point. We do have plans to expand. In fact, we are looking at a franchise model going forward into the future. And it's a great business. It's fantastic. Everybody loves you because you do nothing but have a good time, train them to be successful, and renew their license. What could be better, right?
Yep.
So we are in California only right now, and one of the reasons we started in California is not only because the founders and myself live here, but I mean 423,000 licensees in the state of California. That's 30% of the entire nation when it comes to realtors. So this is the place to be. But we're always open to coming to new locations, and we probably will be doing that not only as the parent company, but also as a franchisee model. But the thing about it is it's not just like jumping the border over to Nevada or Arizona or Washington or something like that, because each state has its own Bureau of Real Estate or Department of Real Estate that you have to deal with. So it's a little more involved.
Gotcha. And now, were you one of the founders of Career Compass, or did they come find you after they got established?
I was one of the founders. We developed this together. The other founders and myself developed it as a new model for realtors to not only get training that they can't get anywhere else. And that's the thing about our seminar is we have people who've been in real estate for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years who come up to us after the seminar and say, "Where'd you get this stuff? I've never heard any of this." And that's really what we're famous for is, things that you can't get somewhere else. And the founders and myself kind of put that together and created a new format.
Well, and I can vouch for that because I found you about 5 years ago, I believe, and I found you through our mutual friend Jason Gordon of AmeriFirst.
Bordeaux.
Yeah, we actually interviewed him earlier this year, but Jason turned me on to you guys, and I hadn't heard of you. And then in the same year he told me about you, you guys sponsored our charity golf tournament. So I got to talk to one of your reps and found myself in one of your seminars later that year, renewed my license, and got a heck of a lot of great information about marketing and sales in a very fun delivery. This is what I want to ask you. What's your background? Because, I mean, you're like a stand-up comedian when you're on stage, but you're delivering good content at the same time.
You know, it's funny. I have no background when it comes to either public speaking or stand-up comedy. I have no formal training in either of those two things. But people say, you know, how'd you ever end up in this job? And I just tell them, well, I was terrible at everything else. So there you go.
You found a great career for a class clown.
And, you know, that's pretty much what I was all the way through high school. You know, I kind of wondered what I was going to do in my life. Well, here I am, and here you go.
Well, and I don't want to give away the candy store here, but let's kind of let people in on some of the techniques that you teach. Maybe just give the names of some of the things that we learned there. You know, like using both sides of the business card and things like that. And give them a little teaser.
Well, of course, there's the back of the business card, and that's always everybody's favorite because it's so much fun. But we have other great techniques like your extended alliance team, you know, getting all your vendors to refer you and not another agent. And we have all those fun techniques, and the seminar is full of great fun, exercisable techniques that you can use tomorrow to get more leads, get more business, increase your business. I mean, there's over 112 techniques in our portfolio that we present at the seminar. But the most important thing that I want to stress is these days, the most important and the most popular techniques has been the 7% technique. Now, Thomas, if you didn't see that one last time, it's fairly new. And at this point, with what's going on in Zillow, I can promise everybody here, please do yourself a favor. Learn that 7% technique. Come to the Career Compass, learn the 7% technique, learn the listing per week technique, learn the investor technique, learn all these techniques that are so razor sharp, important, and brand new to the industry. Just to kind of give you a little teaser, the 7% technique is the one thing that Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, and all the rest of them are never going to be able to do. And you can do it if you know how to do it. Not only does it push commissions up, it pushes equity up, it reduces sales prices, and it does something. It shows you something that less than 1% of all the realtors in the state of California know, which is how to put a commission override in the notes or additional comment sections of your contracts. And that's an override on top of your commission that the seller wants you to have. It's unbelievable, and it's the best way to list a house. And if you don't know it, folks, please do yourself a favor, get to the Career Compass and learn that one. That alone will help you be a successful realtor.
And I have actually had the benefit of taking that class once, and I'll tell you, folks, if you're one of those agents out there taking 4% and 5% just to snag a listing, and the thought of getting 7% just eludes you, the Career Compass for that alone is worth going. But it's more than just going and learning techniques and being entertained. You actually get to accomplish renewing your license there. Can we talk a little bit about that, Beef?
Yeah, and talk about easy. Here's as of last year, you have two options in the state of California if you want to renew your license, which you have to if you want to become or stay as a real estate professional. The first option would be what you would never want to do, which is sit in front of a computer for about a week, because last year they added the new management and supervision course, and that means basically if you've had your license more than 4 years, you got to spend 7 days sitting in front of a computer screen. Most agents take a lot longer, 3.5 days of mandatory studying, then 3.5 days of mandatory testing that's designed to fail you and all this other kind of stuff. So that's your first option. You'd never want to do that. And on top of that, you got to pay for it every time you do it. If you come to the Career Compass, our testing process when you get to the seminar is just the simply 2.5 days. You test on day 1 at the end of the day, you test on day 2 at the end of the day, and then you test on day 3, and you're done. Ours is a 3-day testing process that covers all your license renewal needs for the entire 4-year period. So you leave the seminar with the ability to renew your license. And then when you come to now that you've come to the seminar, you have the ability to come back for free for life. You never have to pay for it again. So you have two options. You can either go and spend 7 days every single 4 years that's excruciating and pay for it, or you can come to the Career Compass for our quick, easy seminar and never pay for it again and get your license renewed forever. So there's your two options in the state of California. So it's pretty much a no-brainer unless you're planning on not staying in real estate.
Well, and what I like about what Career Compass does is you don't have to only come to renew your license. If you want to come and learn some of these great sales techniques, I see a lot of people come and sit in the audience, and then when the test comes around, they leave because they're actually not there to take the test.
That's exactly right. You do not have to test. As a member, you can come to the seminar anytime you want. And we do 12 seminars a year, one every single month at a new 5-star location like Gaslamp area, Pechanga Resort and Casino, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Pasadena, Anaheim Convention Center, Sacramento, Napa Valley at a winery.
Nice.
Okay. As well as San Francisco, Monterey, and a bunch of other ones. So it's vacation locations, 5-star places. It's just a big party where you learn a lot of stuff and renew your license. And you can come anytime you want.
Are you aware of any other companies doing something like this in California or in other states?
Well, it's funny. People say, well, who are your competition? Well, on the training side, our competition, I guess, empirically would be, like Brian Buffini, Tom Ferry, and Mike Ferry, even though we love those companies, great guys all, wonderful men who have done tremendous things for the industry. And I really can't count them as competition because we admire those companies and they are great companies. On the license renewal side, of course, there's a couple hundred different license renewal companies that you can sit in front of a computer and do your license renewal. But I don't know of any other companies doing both of them in the same way we do.
Okay.
So our seminar is unique, and we hope it'll stay that way.
Well, and I can tell you someone that's been with the Buffini company for 18 plus years that it's not an either or, it's a both and, because you guys are a supplement to the training and necessary because you're not going to renew your license through a trainer. So why not go get trained, be entertained, network, and then at the same time renew your license and do it in 3 days in a fun way rather than, like you said, because these tests are also timed. You can only go so fast on them. So, and I've been that way and it's miserable.
Yeah, it is. And that's the other thing is you're absolutely right. Brian Buffini is a great company with great training and folks, you should get some of that. Tom Ferry is a cool guy with some cool stuff. And Mike Ferry, boy, he's been a institution in this industry. So they're all great guys. We actually support those companies and we hope they support us because it comes right down to it. They're coaching companies. So they do coaching. We do not do coaching. We're a training and license renewal only company. So we endorse those companies and we hope they endorse us. All real estate training is good training. You can never be too smart in this business.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of my clients just asked me the other day because I was at a training yesterday and they said, wow, you sure to go to a lot of training. And I said, well, I'm either better armed than the average realtor or I'm just a slow learner. But either way, at least I'm out there getting education because this industry changes quarterly. I mean, what was working in January of this year is ancient history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't stress that enough. Like I always say in the seminar, the smart agent almost always beats the dumb agent unless the dumb agent is related to the seller.
True words. Well, before I hog all the airtime, because I got a ton of questions for you, I want to see, Jonathan, do you want to jump in? Do you have any questions so far for Beef?
Yes, it sounds fantastic. So the thing I was a little bit puzzled about, so there must be a social or California state government entity that you're supposed to take the test. So have you got the authority to test the agent on the behalf of that organisation, or after they take your course then they have to go to this organisation and show them some documentation and then they're given their licence?
The way it works is our independent testing process incorporates a fully certified, fully endorsed legal entity within the state of California that's certified with the Bureau of Real Estate to do continuing education. So that is our subsidiary / partner company that actually provides the courses at the seminar. So right at the seminar, it's a one-stop shop. You come to the seminar, you get the great training, you do the networking, you have fun, and then you actually get to go through that testing process at the seminar that has been endorsed and certified through the state of California. When people leave the seminar, they'll actually have what's called renewal codes. Renewal codes are what you basically go to the BRE website, put the codes in, the BRE goes, those are valid codes, congratulations, your license is renewed. So it's really easy, it's really quick. With our program, there isn't any filling forms out, sending anything in by snail mail or anything else like that. It's all one-stop shop. You come, you get great training. We have tax training, we have mortgage training, we have marketing training, and you get your continuing education all in one spot. And when you leave, you're ready to go.
Oh, sounds great. You've only had that in Nevada, because actually I've been told by a lot of people that the Nevada test is even worse than the Californian one.
Yeah, I heard it was.
Well, and Jonathan, I can share with you, having done this, and I'm going to be doing it again soon because my license is up for renewal next year. You go for 3 days, you get entertained, you get a lot of great tools and techniques to leave with. You get these codes, and then within the time frame where the BRE, the Bureau of Real Estate in California, allows you to enter those codes, you just pop them in on the website, and then boom, you got your license renewal.
That's right.
It's all online. It's simple. I did mine so far in advance last time. The hardest thing was remembering to go on and put the codes in when the time frame was there. But
you know, it's funny you mentioned that, Thomas. We actually working on a system that reminds you to go in and do that. So that's a new adventure for us.
See, that's the beauty of the Career Compass too, is I could go right now and do my renewal testing and then just save it for when it's time. I don't have to wait till the last minute. I just have to wait till the Bureau of Real Estate allows me to enter those codes and make them valid.
That's a good point, Thomas. We should probably touch on that, because one of the main questions that people see is, well, it sounds great, I want to go to the seminar, but I'm not renewing for 3 years. The rules of the BRE is any time in your 4-year period, year 1, 2, 3, 4, doesn't matter.
Right.
Any time in the 4-year period, you can come to the Career Compass and earn your 45 credit hours. The confusion comes from is that the Bureau of Real Estate will not allow you to input those renewal codes into their website until 90-day window prior to your expiration. But you can get them, which is the long process of 2.5 days at our seminar of the testing, at any time. You just have to wait for that little 5-minute process of putting them into their website until 90 days after. So folks, if you're listening right now, you do not have to wait to come to the Career Compass. Come right now. You can do it anytime. I was in a brokerage office the other day, and a lady handed me her registration for the seminar, and she goes, well, my license isn't due for about 3 years, so I'll come then. And I said, ma'am, with all due respect, when is your success due? And she kind of laughed a little bit, and she goes, you know what, that's a little overdue. And I said, well, you don't have to wait to come, because your license come anytime. So this isn't about license renewal. This is about being successful in real estate. So come anytime. You don't have to wait.
Yeah. And again, as a reminder, you don't have to only attend. Once you've attended and become a member, you're a lifetime member. So you could go annually if you want, just for the sake of the training.
You can go monthly if you want, just for the sake of the training. We have people that almost do that.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a lady from Keller Williams. We call the dog lady, and she comes to 4 or 5 seminars a year and just holds her little chihuahua like this and hands a card to everybody there, and she does great when it comes to referrals.
Nice. Yeah. Well, it makes her memorable.
Yep.
All right, Jonathan, is it that time?
It is. It is. It's time for us to go for our break. I think we've covered some really interesting things with beef Wellington Pendell. It's making me hungry, folks. But the only good dish in England. I think we've got more than that. But no, we'll be coming back and we'll be discussing some other topics with Wellington, and we'll see you in a minute, folks. We're coming back. We've had a great discussion about overcoming, getting registered with the California state government and the pain and how you can overcome it. And we'll be discussing some other topics. Over to you, Thomas.
Thank you, Jonathan. So I'm going to dive into the Z word here in a minute, but I wanted to ask you one thing, because for the California realtors that are listening, the BRE has done well, a number on Career Compass that I want to address. I, as a member of Career Compass, have received in the past emails that were kind of vaguely alluding to the fact that I may or may not have valid codes or valid training. And why is the BRE and and CAR, the California Association of Realtors, to some extent, such an entity that, or I should say, they're an opposing force to the Career Compass when you're out there really trying to get people renewed in a, I think, a more productive way?
Well, that's a good question. And of course, the BRE and in turn CAR are certainly not going to come out and tell us exactly what the plan is. But from what we can tell, and I can't say anything that might be, conjecture. I mean, I have my own opinions, but empirically, the Career Compass, at least from the license renewal aspect of our program, empirically competes with CAR, even though we are the most pro realtor organization ever. We are, the biggest advocate ever for realtors and what realtors do. From a competition standpoint, CAR has its own license renewal program. Now, it's a very long program, and it certainly isn't the easiest program by far. But it's at least my opinion, and I want to make that disclaimer that it's at least my opinion that a couple of years ago, when Career Compass started becoming really, really big, and we're the biggest company of our type in the state, I think CAR may have seen their attendance at their license renewal program drop a little bit, and I'm not sure if they really like that. So I can't really make any conjectures, but we have been come down on very hard by BRE, and we've weathered the storm entirely, and we've come out smelling like a rose, and we're still the #1 seminar. I can't imagine where we'd be if we hadn't. This hadn't had. Everybody would be a Career Compass member, and everybody should. But we are definitely out there in the mainstream. We're very, very vocal. We're very loud when it comes to promoting ourselves. And like one guy at the BRE said, he goes, "Wellington, no one has ever done what you guys are doing." And I think that rattled a lot of cages. So I don't know what the reason is. We certainly have had our fair share of, should we say, overregulation, massive overregulation. At this point, I'm hoping, and I'd like to hope that they will leave us alone and let us do our jobs. But you never know. It's the state of California. But the important part is this. A lot of people there's a lot of rumors out there, and a lot of them started by our competition. No person has ever come to the Career Compass and gotten their codes that have ever been denied by the BRE. Not one single person ever in tens of thousands of people who've come to the BRE. Every single person who's ever come to our seminar and gotten the renewal code has had a valid renewal. No codes have ever been denied ever in the history of our course. And that's the thing, is I think a lot of people out there read stuff on the internet, some of it fake, some of it not fake. I mean, they say 70% of everything on the internet is, either not true or partial true.
What?
Yeah, I know, shocking. On the internet, it should be true, right? Anyway, it's what you read out there, folks, is not true. Career Compass has never been shut down by the BRE. We've been operating for 10 years. No person has ever come to our course and not gotten a legal, valid renewal, and we actually have a guarantee against that. So not to worry. What you read out there in the internet, it's not true. Career Compass is the #1 company. It's as great as everybody says it is, and we promise and guarantee that you will get your renewal and you will be a lifetime member.
All right. Well, I wanted to address that because, I mean, you do get some bad press once in a while, and I don't think it's founded in truth. As someone that is a member and renewed his license through you, I can tell you that it was painless, fun, and easy. So I just wanted to make sure we established that, because I know the internet has its way of getting the rumor mill going. And
that's the thing about it, Thomas, is most people that say the Career Compass isn't a legitimate company are those who haven't been to the Career Compass, because there's nobody who's been to our program that thinks that we're illegitimate, because we are the most legitimate, the most walk the line, most legal company in the state of California right here.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, I want to dive into something. I got an email from the Career Compass last week, and it was called Zillow Redfin and the Future of Realtors. And that got me to doing a little research to see what you guys were talking about, which brought me to discover, or rediscover, I should say, Greg Haig, who is famous for the Stop Zillow .com website that's out there. And
Right.
I'll be honest with you, it wasn't until Career Compass linked up with Greg that I took Greg seriously, because I, like a lot of my associates, just thought, oh, this guy Greg's just, sour grapes against Zillow. Yeah, Zillow's becoming this force to reckon with, but there's enough room for everyone.
Right.
Well, then I got to sit down with Greg yesterday for 3 hours and listen to him, and first of all, find out that he's not only a 50-year real estate veteran, but he's also an attorney, so he knows what he's talking about. He's doing this out of the passion of his heart. He's not doing it to fund himself. He's not doing it to sell anything. He is trying to fund the movement, which in fact we'll talk about, but he's basically trying to create a website where all realtors go, and it's protected information with their listings, which may not make some of the local boards happy, because it may make the fact that we have an MLS obsolete. But I think right now, more importantly, the goal is that we need something to take back what Zillow has taken from us. They've put a wedge between us and our clients. Now, it's not Zillow's fault. We handed it to them. We said, sure, here you go. Take it.
We did.
And now NAR and CAR and all the other state boards are kind of stepped back in a neutral Switzerland position, because and I get it. I mean, they've got some top producers paying into them that are doing quite well through Zillow. But when you're talking about 80,000 top, premier Zillow agents versus the 3 million licensees that are out there, that's a small piece of the pie. Now I'm going off too much on a tangent. I want to stop myself. And Beef, let's get into this. Why is Career Compass? First of all, you are independently taking this topic on, but the fact that Greg reached out to you and now you're partnering with him too on some of your presentations is interesting, to say the least. But let's talk about that. First of all, Career Compass started out on this on their own. What prompted you guys to take this on?
Well, let's just start right. Let's start at the beginning. I mean, on May 1st of 2017, Zillow said they will no longer be taking manual uploads of information from agents into their system. So what that makes you do is, if you want it on Zillow, I mean, if your client wants it on Zillow, you have to put yes on what's called the IDX feed system, right? Which means that everybody out there can take every bit of information that you have on your listing, create an ad, put it up on the internet as if it was their own.
Right.
Okay? That's what the IDX does. So you have to know whether you should put yes or no on the IDX, and that's a broker's decision, but you got to know what you're doing. So that's number one. Then about 12 or 13 weeks ago, I have to check my calendar, but Zillow came out in Orlando and Vegas with instant offers. Now, It's funny. Right after this, I'm actually going to be joining a webinar as just a listener on the benefits of instant offers put on by Zillow. Is this a new tool for your toolbox agents and put on by Zillow? I can't imagine what they're going to say.
Right.
Point being is, in a nutshell, whether you call them investors, whether you call them buyers or anything else like that, the Zillow Instant Offer program is a way for people to sell their house without a realtor, to avoid the MLS, to avoid a buyer's agent, to avoid a listing agent. That's the end. That's it right there. This is the same process that happened back in 1991 when Expedia started the wave of travel websites that basically effectively, by this point, put travel agents completely out of business. This is the same exact process. Now, this is not a $300 plane ticket. This is a house. So there's some differences, but basically the similarities are shocking. In fact, one of the founders of Zillow is also one of the founders of Expedia. Gee, what amazing, So my point is this, when they came out with instant offers, that is the first step, in my opinion, and in Career Compass's opinion, the first step to creating a non-realtor world, in the same way that we took the first step back in 1991, creating a non-travel agent world. That's just what's going on. They can call it anything they want. But anytime you have a platform, especially from the 41st biggest website in the world, which is Zillow, okay? And by the way, that's the biggest website in all of real estate. I mean, Realtor.com doesn't even come close.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a program where you can buy and sell without a realtor, That's the first step to a realtor-free world. And that's what we have to kind of fight against, because I got news for you. The value of realtors, folks, if you're out there and you're a realtor, your value is not the fact that you can list in the MLS and somebody else can't. That's not your value, okay? Right. Your value is the consultation, the expertise, and more importantly, you protect seller equity. Because we all know that anything that's been put online, I mean, everybody here shops on Amazon. Why? Because it's cheaper. Okay? Everything that's ever been put online had downward pressure on prices. Downward prices means lower equity. Realtors protect seller equity, and that's your value, not the fact that you can list on the MLS. That's not your value. I always use this example in the seminar. I would say, folks, would your client still pay you a commission if they had the right or the ability to list in the MLS? No. Well, you just told me your only value is the fact that you can list in the MLS. That's not your value. Your value is to protect equity, protect the seller, protect the buyer, and serve your clients. It's not the MLS, because I got news for you, folks. As of 12, 13, 14 weeks ago, the MLS may not be the only game in town anymore. So you need to establish your value as a realtor with your clients. That is where you will survive.
Well, and on that, and I'm quoting Greg. Greg explained to us yesterday that, first of all, Zillow controls the leads because they now have the buyers, and they've had them for quite a while. But now this instant offer, what was interesting about it, he says that such a minute amount of people have actually closed a deal through it, but that's not the point. The point has nothing to do with whether or not anyone uses it. It's now they're capturing the listings, because Zillow realizes that they're still vulnerable as long as the realtors control the listings. But once Zillow controls the listings, they're going to do to us what they did to the hotel industry, which is they're going to start dictating what they charge for rooms. Because the hotel industry, it should be something that every realtor studies, because unless you look at someone like a Marriott who opted out of Expedia, most of the hotels got in trouble because they let Expedia more and more take over their marketing. They're thinking, why are we spending all this money on marketing our own when Expedia is doing it for us? But then, as you mentioned, Expedia and Zillow are the same company, the same founders. They now have lost control over their pricing and their booking because of the fact that they've given too much control over to Expedia and all the Expedia offshoots, Kayak and so forth. So it's like realtors are that frog sitting in the pot of water, and Zillow's turning the heat up so slowly, and right now we're comfortable, but pretty soon that water's going to get pretty darn hot. And we're not going to know what hit us, and that it's already started, and we're looking at like maybe a 2 to 4 year timeline before we're dealing with this right in our face.
I think 2 to 4 is fair. I always quote 3 to 6, but who knows? I mean, it's a complicated thing, and still a majority of the population is used to using realtors. That's to our benefit.
Right.
We need to take a proactive stance, and that example you just gave with hotels is exactly what's going on. That's right there with the travel industry. That's what's going to happen to us, folks. Yeah. And we need to make sure our clients, our customers, our past clients, future clients, potential clients, understand our value. Because if they don't, we're travel agents. But here's another example I can give you. Would you go to court in the state of California? Would you go to court if you've been accused of a crime or being sued by somebody without an attorney? Not a chance. No, you would never do that. Yet you have the right to do that, don't you? You can represent yourself, but you never would, because attorneys have proven to us that if you go to court without them, it could cost you financially, it can cost you personally, it can even cost you your freedom. So we must show the industry and the public that we are worth every bit of our commission. And it's easy to do if you show the statistics on not using a realtor and the numbers that are now coming out from Orlando and Vegas on the instant offers and everything else like that. It's easy to show how you protect seller equity. And that's what we have to do. Otherwise, people are only going to think of the savings they're going to get and not the loss in equity they're going to get. And that's the thing.
Right. Yeah, gentlemen, we're coming close to the end of the podcast part of the show. I've got my own thoughts on this, which are a little bit different to both of yours, but we can discuss that on the YouTube part of the show. So, Thomas, would you like to wrap up the podcast part of the show?
All right. we're going to continue this conversation on YouTube, folks, so come and join us there. But for those of you that joined us on the podcast, I want to thank you very much. Wellington Pendell, will you please sign off with letting people know how to reach out to you and Career Compass?
Absolutely. Super easy, folks. You just go to thecareercompass.com. 3 words, thecareercompass.com, and everything you need is right there. You can sign up for a seminar. You can become a member. You can see videos. You can see all the fun that you're missing, and you shouldn't be missing it. You should be there. So again, thecareercompass.com. Everything is right there at your fingertips.
All right. And Jonathan, how can people reach you if they want to find out more about MailRight?
Oh, it's really easy, folks. Go to the MailRight Facebook page. You'll be able to see all the interviews that we've done. Go to the MailRight website. We've got some big changes coming to the MailRight product that I think will make it even more great value. Or you can go to the MailRight Twitter feed and you'll see our latest posts and information on that.
All right. And you can find me on thomasjnelsonrealtor.com or social media, Facebook and LinkedIn, or do the old-fashioned thing and call me at 858-232-8722. Thomas J. Nelson, San Diego Real Estate, where I'm never too busy for your referral or to share my experience with you about Career Compass if you have any questions, especially you California realtors. All right, we're going to sign off for this week on the podcast, but come join us on YouTube for some more questions about this dynamic topic of Stop Zillow. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I think I agree with a lot of what both of you are saying, but I think when it comes to technology, I think if what you're forecasting was technologically based, knowing Richard Barton and Lloyd Frink, it would have already happened, to be quite truthful with you. I think it is a combination of technology and a very, very hot seller market. That if you look at the history of most markets until the 2000s, historically is unusual. And also I think I actually can see Zillow and Redfin. It's only my personal view. I wouldn't be surprised if Zillow isn't in talks with Redfin to buy them or merge, be quite truthful. I do see them wanting, because it's a publicly traded company, they've got to increase their profits. So I think they've reached that saturation on some of their product lines, so that they're going to look for new ways, aren't they?
Well, I mean, I personally don't think Zillow wants to own brick and mortar. They don't want the hassle of real estate. They may want to be the parent company, but I don't think they're in the tech business. I mean, Zillow is basically a bunch of computer geeks with an algorithm that found out a way to come between realtors and their clients it all got started with estimates, and originally, Zestimates were an attractor so that they could capture leads and sell additional leads back to realtors. Then they came to realtors and said, hey, we're going to help you promote your stuff. But what they ended up doing was taking our stuff and selling it back to us. And right. So many realtors, I think, devalue themselves because they don't realize that they can do this themselves. They don't understand that they have more power and more value to do this than Zillow does, but they just turn it over to Zillow. And then you have a certain amount that have some success with it. But I think the average individual realtor that I've spoken with over the last few years with their Zillow experience is saying thousands of dollars spent, very little ROI. These guys are spending anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 a month. I can't fathom that.
Easy.
If you were to take that kind of money and put it into your own business and your own database, and your own client parties and your own client care, you would do far better than these stepped on leads. I mean, Zillow leads are like buying cocaine in the 8th grade. It's so stepped on, you know. I mean, that's a bad analogy, but I'm just saying it. Well, Beef, jump in on this, man, because I mean.
Well, the first thing I want to make sure everybody knows is I didn't buy any cocaine in the 8th grade. Folks, here's what happened. I mean, most people remember a time when we didn't have Zillow, Truly, or Redfin, or the rest of them. And what happened? We would list a house, and we actually had a plan to sell it too.
Right.
How shocking. And I say in my talks, now we've become the boiled frog over the last 15 years. Yep. The water, the temperature has gone up and up and up, and we haven't noticed it. And guess what happens? I make fun of realtors a little bit. I say, folks, you take a listing, you put it on the MLS, you stay in your pajamas and wait for Zillow, Trulia, or Redfin to bring you a buyer. And it only costs you 50% of your income, because now there's no way you're ever going to double end the property. And the double ends don't stay within the brokerage either. This is a process that's happened to us, and we have defaulted the other half of our business away to the technology companies because it's easier to do, and we've become lazy. And now that has become a problem that we can't fix. So this is something that we should have been able to fix years ago, but we got complacent, and now we've got a big problem, don't we? And that's the issue is, folks, quit spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on Zillow and put it into your business. Try a few. I mean, there's 112 techniques in the Career Compass. Just try a few. I can give you examples like Sean German, a guy from Coldwell Banker down in Point Loma. The guy had $4 in his checking account in 2011. Took a few Career Compass techniques, put some money into him, put some effort into him. The guy did $734,000 GCI his second year. Look him up on Sandy Core. That is how to do business, folks. Yes, this still is a person-to-person business, as long as we make it that way. Yeah, if we just let them take over, then guess what? It's no longer a person-to-person business. This is ours to lose.
Yeah, but there's a deeper problem, and I see it very strongly in Reno. I don't know if you see it, both of you in your area, California, but in the Reno, it's dominated by 3 regional brokers, and they use the model of hiring as many agents as possible. Both of all these 3 brokerages have about 200 plus agents, and most of those agents sell between 5 to 12 houses at the most, and a lot of them are only with that brokerage for 2 years, and they're always refilling the agent pool because they're looking for agents that will sell so many houses or get seller leads from friends and family, and when they exhaust that resource, they're out of the industry, and they get another batch, and that's their business model.
Well, that's the NAR business model. Churn them and burn them. Just get them in here quick. That's why it's a low point of entry to get in. No business training, no real sales training. I mean, this is why Career Compass is so good, because if you were to just take the test to get your license, you would be armed with nothing to start a business in real estate. Nothing. My first day in real estate, and I came from a real estate family, I walked into my office, sat at my desk, and had no idea what to do based on my training. Had I not come from a family of realtors, I wouldn't have known what to do. But my training didn't get me there. It's all the training I've done since. And then of course experience. But so and NAR is the same way, you know. I mean, you just get them in. And it sounds like this business model it's a broken business model. And I'll tell you, the other thing is that we've got a whole generation of realtors that don't know real estate without Zillow. And Beef, you mentioned this. I mean, I remember this was my argument all along. Is I sold homes before there was ever a Zillow. I sold homes before I had a cell phone, before I had a laptop. I sold homes. Okay, and the basic principles of selling a home have not changed. The tools and the technology's changed, but the fundamentals are rock solid, the same as they were when my grandmother in 1953 was selling real estate.
That's right.
And they managed to sell real estate back then without any websites. Now I get
How did they do that?
and I think that you need to be, you need to be skilled enough to sell a home without the technology before you rely on the technology. It's there to supplement. It's not there to sit on and coast.
I couldn't, Thomas, I'm going to add that to the seminar. Okay. Because I mean, you need, right here we go. I'm going to quote you back. And for those who didn't hear that, you need to be skilled enough to sell a home without websites before you sit and coast on websites and have them do your job for you. You're a realtor and you're being paid somewhere upward of 5, 6, 7% if you've been to the Career Compass.
Right.
And you need to earn that money. You can't just, I listed the house, so I'm deserved. I had a lady the other day say she actually comes to me, she goes, "Can you believe that I have to drive all the way to the office to pick up my $30,000 check? That's disgusting. Deposit it in my bank account while I'm at the mall." Okay. And I'm like, okay, there's our problem right there. We got the listing because of luck or something else, or the family, we had to do it because of the family or whatnot. Folks, the problem that we're having is a lack of skill in the real estate industry.
Yes.
And thank you, Thomas, for mentioning the Career Compass, because the Career Compass, along with all these other companies, are trying to fix that. And if you don't know what you're doing in real estate, if you sit down at your desk like Thomas did years ago and say, "Gee, now what?" Folks, get to the Career Compass. We'll give you some now what. You'll have more now whats than you'll be able to do in your career. Like I tell people, out of over 100 techniques that we teach, you don't need 100. You need 4 or 5 that you have mastered, and you're a millionaire, and not through Zillow either.
Yeah, and just not every technique's for everyone. So that's the beauty of the variety of techniques you guys teach, is that there's something for everyone, but you don't have to do them all. You can do the ones that speak to you and fit your personality and what you're willing to do to earn the business. But I mean, I used to say this because I used to be a DJ, and when Serato and computers came in and these DJs would just program their sets, and God forbid they got a request because they couldn't fit it in because they were pre-programmed.
Right.
I spun live. I always said, if before you spin Serato, you got to spin turntables, and you got to learn how to manually, physically mix the music and know how to count beats. And it's the same thing in real estate. I mean, you got to have those basic skill sets because, as you said, we're getting paid a significant amount of money to go out and represent these people and defend their equity, or if they're a buyer, defend the price they pay and the terms that they sign up for. And I just think that we've and I've been guilty of this. I'll throw myself under the bus. The worst thing that ever happened is automated MLS, where we could just sign our clients' criteria up and it automatically emails them stuff. I remember back in the day when we used to have to manually give our clients the listings and talk about them, we were a lot more involved. And quite frankly, I think the process went quicker, because we were more involved. You can go on autopilot 6 ways to Sunday in real estate these days with technology.
Well, that's just it. We've automated ourselves almost out of a job. That's the problem. We want everything to be easier, easier, and easier, and easier, and faster. And it isn't faster, and it's only easier for us. And I got news for you. After it becomes too easy, they don't need us anymore. So I remember the days of the bounded MLS books. And we worked for our living, and now we've got everything automated. Well, guess what, folks? The automation that you have inputted into this industry may cost you your job. So let's not, let's not work ourselves out of the industry, shall we?
Yeah, amen. Jonathan.
Well, I really, you can't say no. We're in a period of dramatic change and disruption. Look at Amazon. And the other way, I know they're taking down their pages on the Amazon website, but they announced that they were going to enter the real estate industry.
Yeah.
It must have put a chill through the bones of the executive team at Zillow. Any industry that's facing the might of Amazon, they're literally wetting their pants. But I noticed the pages have been taken down recently. I don't know what's going on, but Amazon's looking at any industry that has high margins and high profitability. So that they're looking at Zillow. I think it is a pincer movement connected to 17 years of a very unusual market of boom and bust, of amazing, price rises and then total collapse, and then we've in many areas seen a return. But you look at the periods before that. So selling a house, as either you got multiple offers or you got no. In the past 17 years, literally, you got multiple offers or you got no offers at all. Nobody was interested.
Yeah,
that is not a normal market, is it?
No, you got 2008 where you can't give away a house, and then you got 2016 and 17 where you put a house, you even whisper that you're going to sell a house and you get multiple offers. In fact, talk about craziness. Here's what I heard, and this is going to just shock you. In Seattle, which as we know is white hot insane because of the Microsoft influence and everything else like that, I heard an agent up there told me that they have open house and people are showing up with briefcases of cash saying, here's my offer. Do you want it? I mean, are you kidding? I mean, talk about insane. I mean, I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah. When I worked in the Bay Area, I mean, there was local legends of people showing up saying that car out front's yours. You see the jet ski behind it. That's yours. Here's a trip to Hawaii. They were doing all kinds of crazy things. And the Bay Area is another place. The San Francisco Bay Area is blowing up still.
But I also want to go on to the basic training, and I'm great to meet you, Wellington Beef, and hear about your company because I deal with a lot of agents, and a lot of them, we're talking about fundamentals 101, the Red Book. Basically, it's a little bit dated. The audio book is a bit kishy, but get a copy of the bleeding Red Book and read it, for God's sake. What he says in that is still applicable. You've got to build your database. I know so many agents don't even know what a freaking database is.
Wow.
Scary.
And they're certainly not building it up, and they're certainly not marketing to it. And there's loads of online resources, this show, but, go listen, buy Chris Smith's book. It's excellent. Go to the Curator website and listen to the previous podcasts on that. There's a lot of information out there about how you're going to have to up your online marketing game. If you want to have relevance in 2017, you've got to up your game.
Yeah, well, it's expected by your clients, but sure. I mean, getting back to your database, I mean, that is the equity of a realtor's business. I mean, if you don't have a database, you don't have anything to sell. So that is the equity. So if people don't understand that the relationships that are made up of their business, people that they're working with now, past clients, and the sphere of influence, including the people that you bring business to, all your tradespeople and so forth. Those are all your database, and it's the equity of your business when you can show that you have a repeatable flow of business coming from them. And to me, that is why I work that way, and that's where I put my money. That's where I reinvest my money is into my database, not companies like Zillow, because I'd rather spend $1,000 throwing a gratitude gathering for my top 10 clients than I would $1,000 for a month of Zillow to get leads that 5 other realtors got too, and it's a foot race to see which one of these realtors gets to talk to the angry person on the other end of the phone that got 5 phone calls.
Right.
Yeah.
Or more.
Or more, right.
Well, yeah, it's going to be more if you use Zillow, because I think it's 10 to 12 depending on the area. But what I mean by the database is you're talking about your inner circle of your database, the people that you have worked with closely. But there's all different parts of your database, and you need different methodologies and methods to market to different parts of your database.
Right.
And a lot of agents do not understand that. And they do not know how to cut. And you need to be building up a much larger database than most people think.
Yeah.
And you market in different ways to that. And agents are notoriously bad about keeping in touch with where everybody they should be. And that's where technology can help. But there's a lot of resources out there. I don't know if you agree, Beef. You know, I would listen to Chris Smith and Curator's podcast. I would read some of their stuff. There's other people, you know, Buffini, Tom Ferry. There's a lot of resources out there, free resources that you can learn a lot from, isn't there?
There's a ton. There's so much out there, and like I always say, you know, it's not Buffini or Ferry or the other Ferry or Career Compass, folks. It's all of it. All real estate training is good training. You can never know too much about real estate. No one will ever know too much about real estate, and don't just get one training. Get it all. If you want to be successful, get it all, folks. Come to every seminar you know about. It's pennies compared to what it's going to earn you. You know, there's an old saying, you know, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. It gets real expensive. Yeah. So, folks, go to every seminar you know of. Any seminar that you've ever heard of, go to it. Some of them are going to be lousy, but some of them are going to be fantastic. And you know, if you like Career Compass, we have over 100 different techniques. If you just took one of them and only used one of them once, which would be crazy if you only used one of them once, you're going to pay for the whole experience 100 times over, plus your license renewal. So I tell you, you know, you couldn't be more right. Get all the experience, all the training that you could possibly get from all the different sources.
Yeah, and the other thing I would point out to people, you got a car to sell. Yeah, you could try and sell it yourself. Why do you think still an enormous majority of people still go to a dealer and get a terrible part exchange deal where they could sell it, even with Craigslist, even with do you know why they do it? Because it's a pain to try and sell your car and then yourself. And that's why people go to a dealer and get a terrible part exchange deal.
That's right.
It's the same thing.
Although we don't want to correlate that with going to a realtor because you don't necessarily get a terrible deal.
No, but what I'm trying to point out is that what a real estate professional is really doing, he or she is removing pain for the client.
Yeah.
And that's why they're still going to be, you know, you can't say never, but somebody that really knows, like yourself, Thomas, that really knows what they're doing, that's what you're really doing for the client. You're removing a lot of pain for them.
Yeah, we're removing pain and getting them on with their lives.
That's right. And more importantly, you're protecting seller equity.
Right.
I would ask in the seminar, say, folks, would you let one of your customers sell for a crazy low price, like what they might get online with some bidding service?
Right.
Like, of course not. Exactly. And by the way, when you do allow that, that becomes a comp to everybody else in your neighborhood. So you, as a person, as a seller, might consult a realtor and do the right thing. But if your neighbor doesn't, guess what? He just lowered the equity for everybody in that neighborhood. So, folks, you need to tell your sellers to tell everybody in their neighborhood and everyone in their sphere to never use one of these online services, because those services erode equity, and realtors protect equity. That's the key.
There you go. Hey, we're going to wrap this up, but I wanted to, Beef, let you talk one more time about how people can reach out to you, and also let's remind them what seminars are coming up for this discussion on Zillow. And I know you're partnering up with Greg Haig and the StopZillow.com campaign. What can agents expect coming out to your Zillow-based trainings over the next month?
Okay. Well, as far as contacting us, once again, folks, the best way is thecareercompass.com. Again, 3 words, thecareercompass.com. And we're also on Facebook. You can look up The Career Compass on Facebook, or just look me up personally if you want to see my ugly mug. It's Wellington Pendell. Again, that's Wellington Pendell, and I'm right there on Facebook. Go ahead and friend me if you like. And as far as the seminars that are coming up, starting this Friday, at Pechanga Resort and Casino in Temecula, we are having another award-winning Compass seminar, and this one is going to be featuring Greg Haig on the 23rd. There's still some room because we moved it from where we were going to be having it to the main ballroom to allow for everybody to be there. It's going to be a zoo, and it's going to be a huge party. It's going to be a blast. So make sure you're there. If you just want to come in just for Saturday to hear Greg, go ahead. We're going to open it up to everybody. So again, right up at Pechanga Resort and Casino, starting this Friday, the 22nd and 23rd, is our next Career Compass seminar. And then the next Career Compass seminar after that will be in November, and that'll be on the 10th and 11th down at the San Diego Convention Center. And Thomas, I expect you to be at that one. I'll bring you up on stage and maybe play some of this podcast. That'd be great. Okay. So I've already put you on the list, so you better show up.
All right.
And after that, rounding out the year in December, on December 14th and 15th, the Anaheim Convention Center. So everybody listening to this, if you're within an hour drive of any of those places, make sure you get there. Again, San Diego in November. Anaheim in December, and this Friday, the 22nd, starting at Pechanga Resort and Casino, and you can RSVP right at thecareercompass.com. Again, thecareercompass.com.
All right, Beef, and thanks again for being on our show with us today. I mean, I had so many more questions, but I know there's only so much time. But probably the best way to get those questions answered is to get out to a Career Compass. My name's Thomas J. Nelson with Big Block Realty here in San Diego, California, where I'm never too busy for your referrals. And Jonathan, you want to tell people one more time about you?
Yeah, just contact us to come to the website, MailRight. We got a load of podcasts, a load of free training, and we got some posts. I think we got a load of really fantastic content on the MailRight website, don't we, Thomas?
I would agree.
Right. See you later, folks. Bye.
Thanks again, Beef, man. That was awesome.